Arizona's 6th congressional district takes in all of Greenlee County, most of Cochise County, and parts of Pima, Pinal, and Graham counties. It's currently represented by Republican Juan Ciscomani. Kathleen Wynne is running against Ciscomani in the Republican primary. Ciscomani did not respond to our repeated invitations to appear in a debate, and so we sat down with Kathleen Wynne earlier today to discuss the issues. Kathleen Wynne, thank you so much for joining us in Arizona Horizon. We appreciate you being here and answering some questions. Let's start with why you are challenging a Republican incumbent.
Well, I ran the last cycle, and there were 5 of us in the race, and I was really hoping that our Republican congressman would vote more in accordance with Republicans. But unfortunately, he's voting almost 60% of the time with Democrats, and I believe that his positions don't represent the views of our district. And so I'm really challenging him. I think the biggest thing, Ted, is the border and then the excessive spending. So those are the 2 hot issues for us in our district. Let's
talk about the border and whether or not the bipartisan immigration plan that was there, it was on the table, it wasn't perfect, but it was there. That was rejected. Would you have rejected that plan?
To be fair, I haven't read the plan, so I would tell you, though, I'd love a bipartisan effort to secure the border, but we have to take operational control. And if there was a plan for deportation in there, because I think that's the biggest thing, we have to identify who's here illegally, and we have over 10 million people that shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So if that was part of that, I would have definitely considered that.
Well, I think that one of the biggest aspects of this thing being rejected, especially among Republicans, which apparently there was a bipartisan deal hammered out, but the minute Donald Trump said, no, don't give President Biden a victory, it's adios, it's over. Is that a good enough reason, you think, for legislation to be rejected?
I think legislation has to stand on its own face. I think it's great for other people, especially, the former president or even Joe Biden, the current president, to give their opinions. But at the end of the day, if you're there representing the people, you need to be able to discern and explain to the people that you're representing why you're voting for something or voting against it. And I think that's where a lot of this is falling down. People keep saying they want to secure the border, but their actions aren't in a correlate with doing that.
Last question on the border. How do you define a secure border?
Well, we don't have operational control. I talked to some sheriffs on the way up today from Tucson, and the Sinaloa cartel has control of our border. They are running fentanyl and drugs, the human smuggling, the human trafficking, high-speed chases. There was a rollover in Tucson again last night. The crime is the worst in the Tucson sector, our district, in the whole country. So we don't have control, and we need to secure the border, but we also need to detect and dismantle the cartels and their operations. We have hundreds of criminal enterprises operating in our county right now.
I want to get to abortion here and whether you think Congress should act in any way, shape, or form on abortion and abortion rights.
Well, Roe versus Wade, as we know, was overturned, which caused the Arizona 15-week law to be revert back to the original law. There's a ballot measure coming up this election, I believe, that mandates almost late-term abortion. So I think we have some education. But right now, it's been remanded back to the states, and I would not. That's where we are legally, and I think I'm a rule of law person, so I would want to follow what the law is. I'm pro-life personally, but I think you have to balance that with everything else.
Yeah, if we should probably correct it, that doesn't mandate late-term abortions there, but it does allow them under certain circumstances if a medical professional and patient. But that being said, the question though is Congress, because you want to be in Congress.
Yes.
You want to be on Capitol Hill. You're saying, do you agree with Donald Trump then, that basically leave it alone, Congress, let the states decide?
I believe that that's where the last ruling was, to turn it back to the states after 50 years. And I trust that the Supreme Court, when they made that ruling, knew what they were doing, and they're the current Supreme Court. So for me to challenge a Supreme Court ruling, I think that's not where I would want to start my time in Congress.
As if your time in Congress, if it involves the speakership, let's say that the Republicans regain control of the House and the Speaker doesn't do exactly what you want, it is close to chaos there as far as speakers are concerned. What do you make of all that?
Well, I think doing exactly what I want is not a standard. You can't do that. But when you promise as the Speaker and you come to agreement with your caucus, and then you turn around and you don't do that, and you side with the Democrats, which is what happened to Kevin McCarthy. He had worked out things with the caucus, and then he went exactly against that, and he was removed for that reason. What's happening to Mike Johnson, I think, unfortunately, there was some of that going on too. I'm really disappointed. They have the majority, although it's getting smaller, but they really could have done things a lot differently. And one of the things they could have done, they have the power of the purse, is they could have made sure that we secured the border before they gave any other spending. And that's what I was most disappointed about.
Well, and again, that goes back to the bipartisan deal, which would have allowed for spending for Ukraine and Taiwan and Israel, but also took steps in getting that border secure. I guess the question would be, and this is for voters in your district, these are for Republican voters in your district primarily first.
Yes.
Do they want someone who can compromise, or do they want someone who says, it's black or white, it's my way or the highway?
Well, I'm not a my way or the highway type of person. I am, what are the facts? What are the issues? What is the best solution to this problem? And we don't do a lot of that. I am guided by my own Christian and conservative principles. But right now, we have lawlessness, we have chaos, we have criminal enterprises, and we're not taking care of it. So I think that whatever we do, we have to restore order to our country. And without a border, Ted, we don't have a country.
Before we go, I have to ask you, because the Republican Party now, and really what's happening on Capitol Hill, not a heck of a lot is getting done. It's a very unproductive Congress. A lot of that is being blamed on MAGA. Are you MAGA?
I am a conservative. I am, make America great again. Is that what you're saying? I would say I lean with the Freedom Caucus. My preferred congressmen are Andy Biggs, Eli Crane, Paul Gosar. Dan Bishop out of North Carolina. I like the Jim Jordan, Scott Perry. Those are the guys that I resonate with, and I would probably align more with their thinking. I am not a Marjorie Taylor Greene, or I'm not a disruptor. I'm more pragmatic and I'm more thoughtful, but I will lean that way.
Do you think voters, Republican voters primarily here, first off, do they want that more conservative vote in that district?
I believe that they do. We are a +3 Republican district, and I think I shared with you, there were 5 of us in this race the last time, 3 conservatives and 2 moderates, and the conservatives actually beat the moderates in terms of total votes. So I think me being just me and Juan, there's only 2 of us this time, and it'll be a moderate versus a conservative, and we'll see. But with what's going on in this country, I think people are looking for stability, they're looking for thoughtfulness and intelligence, and they want to restore order to our country, and I believe I can do that.
Kathleen Wynne, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.